because there was a lot of struggle and suffering. And it was just one line that I read from some book, and it said, the same energy that animates your body animates everything else. So
Okay.
that really sunk in, in that one line just sunk in. And I was like, wow, I'm not this person. And this whole weight of being this person who was struggling and going through life with such big baggage and stories just lifted off, and
Yeah.
there was just this complete freedom in the body of the energy, where it was not constricted of being this person who was going through all this and being this character in a story, and which you didn't want to be in the story and all that. That just like lifted off.
Welcome to Silent Sages Speak, the podcast where timeless wisdom meets the present moment. I'm your host, Sukhdev Virdee, and in each episode, we delve into the profound teachings of non-dual masters, those who have transcended the boundaries of duality and revealed the simplicity of existence. Join us on this journey beyond words as we explore the essence of being with those who have realized the truth that goes beyond language, beyond thought. Open your mind, silence your chatter, and let the wisdom of silent sages resonate within you. Today, my guest is someone who told me not to give any elaborate introduction, but instead, let's go with the flow and let everything unfold on its own. So, I'm just going to introduce her by her lovely name. I'd like to welcome to the show Sindhu Menon. Welcome to the show, Sindhu.
Thank you for the introduction today.
I really appreciate and I'm truly grateful for you to take the time out to be on this. And you're in Bangalore. It's a Sunday evening, so I really, really am thankful for you to do that. Um,
Thank you for the invitation.
yeah. I was trying to figure that out actually. Sindhu should be from South India, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Tell me, Sindhu, why such a low profile? I had to find you from, I think only on YouTube is where I could get something related to non-duality and you. Why such a low profile?
I think it has something to do with just the natural way this character is. So it has always been a little low profile, if you want to call it that, or
Yeah.
introverted. So YouTube forum is actually something which is completely new, where all this is happening, where there are these Zoom meetings happening and
Okay.
there is this sharing and all that.
So
Yes.
you have just recently started that.
I think it's about a year now.
Okay. Okay. All right. Sindhu, just walk us through how your childhood word, how you got into spirituality, how you came into non-duality, how did the transitions happen, and what led you to do what you're doing right now today?
Okay. Um, so I was born and brought up here in Bangalore. Very simple parents, but hardships were a lot. There was a lot of psychological stuff that was happening within the house, and being a very sensitive sort of character, everything was absorbed a lot. So there was a lot of suffering as a child itself, and there was a lot of fear of death more of a parent or something, for some
Okay.
reason, even as a child. So there was a questioning of what is this? What happens in death? So there, I don't know how old I was, but because of that questioning and going into what it is, there was some revelation that whatever this is, the substance of it does not die. It's not something that is just extinguishes. So from that, there was a lot more confidence that came for that child in this, like, so to speak, life. And then went on, there was still a lot of struggle. So it was at a very early age that this whole thing happened. And I guess there was an inclination towards this always. So it's not something that happened all of a sudden. And then in my early 20s is when there was a very strong glimpse or awakening, if you want to call it. Uh, because there was a lot of struggle and suffering. And it was just one line that I read from some book, and it said, the same energy that animates your body animates everything else. So
Okay.
that really sunk in, in that one line just sunk in. And I was like, wow, I'm not this person. And this whole weight of being this person who was struggling and going through life with such big baggage and stories just lifted off, and
Yeah.
there was just this complete freedom in the body of the energy, where it was not constricted of being this person who was going through all this and being this character in a story, and which you didn't want to be in the story and all that. That just like lifted off. And but that elation didn't last very long. It was a big freedom, that this expansion that was felt for some time, maybe I don't even know, a couple of weeks. Then again, this whole thing of being a person came back, because regular going to work, interacting with people, relationships, this, that, and the other. So it all came back. So then that's when the seeking started. Real
Wow.
seeking, spiritual seeking, seeking for a guru, seeking for what just happened.
Yeah.
I was just going about, and then this happens, and it completely shifts all, perception of the world and life and what I need to do and all those things.
Yeah.
And that's when the seeking happened. And then the seeking led me to read a lot. Then I read a lot of Ramana Maharshi books. And so I wanted to go to Tiruvannamalai. And
Yeah.
then I went to Tiruvannamalai and I met Muji, and
Wow.
attended all his satsangs for a long time. So I was an ardent seeker for a very long time. And that seeking itself, moved and kind of lots of things just kept breaking and dissolving, even in the seeking, and all these ideas of spirituality and how you need to be and what you need to look like, and all those things kind of like just fell away. And then it just became very simple. And then towards the end is when this whole radical non-duality really started resonating, like what say Tony Parsons speaks, or like an Andreas Müller speaks. So that really resonated, because it was very direct and had no kind of frills of spirituality on it, which is very directly saying that there is no one, there's just this, which
Yeah.
is absolute freedom. And that also, uh, there was that final, that contraction of being a person kind of completely fell away, when there was this one phrase that I think it was Kenneth Madden or something that I was listening to, and said that even the apparent thought is it. So it is not that it's your thought, or that it is something that is real. It is just this, which is nothing appearing as an apparent thought. It has no meaning. And of course, we hear it so many times, but that, when that was heard at that moment, it was so clear as to, that contraction of being a person was nothing but owning certain things, certain thoughts that came up and saying, that this is true, and this is my thought, and this is real, and so that you give it that reality that this is mine, and you make it personal. So that also completely went away when that was really heard. And then there's just nothing now that feels like a contraction anymore. There isn't any thought or any instance or any circumstance, so to speak, that would cause a feeling that I am here, I'm back, and I'm going through something, because there isn't anyone in the center. There is just what's happening, this tree. So that's
Oh, wow. You mentioned Ramana Maharshi, you mentioned Tony Parsons, and I noticed your YouTube name says Sindhu Advaita.
yes.
Do you find any similarity? What are the similarities and maybe the differences between Tony Parsons and what Ramana would be talking about? Because
So
Advaita, I think Advaita is slightly more on the intellectual side. They talk about it's the path of knowledge, Jnana Yoga. While maybe
Advaita Vedanta.
Yeah, while maybe a Tony Parsons would be talking about this already is, there is nobody and there is nothing to do or nothing to realize, that kind of words. And while Advaita would tell you, you need to realize that
So
you are not
actually,
what you are.
Advaita means non-duality.
Yeah,
Dvaita is duality and Advaita is non-duality. So
yeah,
what Tony Parsons is saying is, non-duality, which is in Indian Sanskrit or whatever is Advaita.
Advaita.
But
Yeah,
as a subject, if you are talking about it as a subject, Advaita Vedanta, sure, it's something you can, you can believe that you are learning, but it's not something that can be learned really, because it is just everything. It's absolutely everything. So it depends on, I guess, how you are perceiving the word and giving it whatever meaning that you are giving it. As far as over here, what I'm concerned, I would say that it's not different. It's
no, no,
non-dual.
the end obviously what they're finally talking about is the same. It cannot be different, and we also know that it cannot be known. But
Yeah.
Advaita insists that you've got to understand it for yourself. Obviously, Advaita does it takes out all the notion of believing in anything at all. You've got to know, you've got to understand it, right? So it's just the methods of teaching it, the same reality being taught in two different ways. One would say it's everything, and the other one is saying would say that it's nothing, which obviously do again mean the same thing, but different approaches. It's full or it's empty, or it's full of emptiness or it's empty of fullness. Because you have studied both, that's why I was asking you. Maybe you might have found some difference or some similarities in the methods that are being used.
So, I mean, I can say from going to Muji satsangs and all that, sure, there is a practice that can is emphasized on saying, staying as the I am, or inquiring who I am, say
Yeah,
like a Ramana Maharshi's
yeah,
teaching,
yeah,
and then going deeper into that. But if you see, like even in the question, who am I? It is not that Advaita says you are going to get an answer.
yes,
It is not that there is an answer to the who am I that you are going to find,
yeah,
because there is no answer. At the end of the question, there is nobody there. So that is exactly what is said. But yeah, sure, in two different ways. When a sadhak or someone goes to a teacher, then there is that whole routine of telling the student what they must do to kind of get closer to this, which is the path of, say, the teachers who teach how you can get to this, while, say, the radical like Tony Parsons doesn't really speak to somebody to do something, but just points to that this is already. But even I think in this, where, like in Muji Satsangs, Muji used to always talk about there is no teacher, there is no student, there is just this. But
mhm,
it's not, but there would be in the next question, if it there in a different context, he may say that you stay as the I am, or inquire who is speaking this, or who is saying these things, or whatever, which doesn't happen in this radical non-duality, where you are trying to tell the individual what they should or should not do in that moment, because there isn't that forum of being a teacher disciple. But I think both are fine, and I think
yeah, yeah.
that is the only difference about
Okay.
the two. One speaks to the student, so to speak, or the whoever, the sadhak,
Yeah,
and the other is not speaking to anybody. It's just
yeah,
pointing to
yeah,
this, the simplicity.
yeah, yeah. I get that. I get that. I studied Advaita for over about 8, 10 years now.
Okay.
So I am a huge devotee of. I've read a lot of Ramana Maharshi. I've listened to a lot of Muji as well. We had Andreas Muller. You spoke about him. We had him on the show a few
Who?
weeks back. Um,
Andres Miller. Yeah, I
Andreas Muller.
saw
Yeah,
that.
yeah. So in Advaita, why I'm saying this is in Advaita. If somebody was to tell you this is already it, and the student, whoever is coming to you to listen or to learn or to understand or to realize what you have realized, it would be telling them basically believe. You've got to believe what I'm saying, that this already is. Because from the normal person point of view, Advaita is just all spirituality in reality. You are not never bound. It is, you're being shown that you are bound, and then you get freedom, which are both illusory. When you get to, when you realize it, you realize I was never bound, I was never attached to this. How did I miss it all this time,
Yeah.
so this methods of Advaita, Bhakti Yoga, or Jnana Yoga, Karma Yoga, they tend to show you, oh, you don't think that you're the entire universe, you don't think that you're nothing or everything. That we've got to work with that person who thinks that. So he's got to do this, he's got to learn this, and then when he realizes, it's like, oh, all this was futile. This was just, it was just a chase. It was
Yeah.
always there.
Yes.
All right, great. So you did you like read a lot of books, and did you go through any bhakti devotion? Did you have an image or belief in God at that time?
Uh,
Bef-
so for over here, it was never about belief, but it is about complete certainty that there is just this. If you
no,
want to call it
no,
God, you
no,
can call
no,
it.
not this. I meant before you, when you started your
So
journey, like you
I
said.
no, I don't think I ever believe there's a God up there.
Okay, okay,
I
great.
feel God is everything.
Yeah, yeah,
I
absolutely,
have never
absolutely.
felt there is a God up. But if there have been a lot of devotional things that happen, in terms of, like, we are Indian, so there is that thing of being like, when I used to go to Tiruvannamalai, there was a devotion for Ramana Maharshi, there
Yeah,
was a devotion for Shiva, and there's a devotion for Arunachala and all that. But it's not that all that just like dies and there is a cynicism for it. There is still a devotion, but you know that it is not that there is actually a deity which is, there, because it is everything. It is
yeah.
absolutely everything. But still, that dance, that play, I don't mind. It's
Mm.
very, very it's fun.
Okay. Uh, would you want to share your the moment that you said where you it all like it, you can call it your awakening, or actually when it dawned upon you? Uh, what happened during that time, and how did life change after that? Did it was it a sudden change, or was it a gradual change into this non-duality state that you would be in of
So
consciousness?
in a way, it's like uh, everything changes in the way that uh, you're not looking at everything from a separate point of being a person, that where everything is separate and everything is tangible, and where everything is kind of boring in a way. But there is that sense that everything is it, and so there isn't that point of view that is looking at everything from the separation. So there is nothing but mystery. So, but in this, if you're asking how has life changed otherwise, everything remains the same. Just the character is just the same, as in, the same kind of uh, habits, so to speak, or preferences and all continue on a superficial level, like what one may prefer, say, in food, or just as a simple things, all that continues. But as a whole, in terms of the story, also because there is a lot more freedom, and there isn't all the stuff that used to come as a limitation for the person who was confused as to what to do, what not to do, etc. All that goes away, and everything sort of simplifies, in terms of just your regular story as well. So that I guess is the only change.
Yeah, so before enlightenment, chopping wood, carrying water. After enlightenment,
Yeah.
chopping wood, carrying water, same stuff. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
You know why I asked
So
that?
there isn't someone who's enlightened because there isn't anyone who's really there to be enlightened.
Yeah.
Uh, and other than if you say that there is nothing but enlightenment, if you want to call it that, it's all lit up with the mystery. So that's the only thing I can say. I can't say I am enlightened because
No,
there's
no, no,
nobody.
of course not. Of course. You never like you never awaken. The person never doesn't you don't the person doesn't get freedom. You are freed of the person. Yeah, so the person never gets freed.
Yes.
So the person carries on. You realize that you are never this person you had taken yourself to be. Great, great. So you spent quite some time, you're saying, in Trivunnamalai. Did you meet any other teachers? Did you get any other teachings
I
from anyone
didn't
else?
spend years or anything. I just went
No, some
whenever
months.
I could, like,
Okay,
yeah.
okay,
And no, I did not meet other teachers. It was just Muji, and then it was just, uh, going there for no reason.
okay. So you
Yeah.
you got all this like maybe for online videos, listening to Tony Parsons and these other teachers online, or how else?
Yeah,
Books?
I mean, I haven't met Tony Parsons and all that, so it's all online.
Okay,
Otherwise, it's just that this was all that was there as an interest since like the last 25 years, I don't know.
ah,
So there was all kinds of books read. So I would have read all kinds of teachers' books and all that. Now I don't even remember. As in, like, there's so much. This was all that I did, really, honestly.
right.
As in, now everything else was secondary to,
Yes.
for
Yeah.
the in this journey, so to speak.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of books that were read, and went to many satsangs of movies only, mainly. Other
Okay.
than that, I've not gone to any other teacher. Uh, and then there was, some teachers I may just go visit, like, but not really follow as such. But I can say I followed Muji for a long time.
Okay. Okay. He's great. He's great. I was there was I think I've watched all his videos. In fact, I use his invitation technique during my one-on-ones with the other people that I talk to. It's amazing. It's brilliant. And I have him lined up as well, so he'll be on for this podcast in a few weeks. Now, you you said for 25 years you look 25. You're not even more than 25. When you
No,
say
no, I'm not.
25 years I've been studying, I was like, what?
No,
You'd hardly look 25.
no.
You when did you now start coming out and start talking to people about this? I went through this. My journey started with the bhakti and devotion for Krishna, the Bhagavad Gita, and I had some experiences which completely changed my life inside out. And then, like you, I after some time I had to like get to the bottom of it. That's when I came into Advaita, and once I got Advaita and like actually realized it, I went into a shell and isolation for 8 years. I did not want to meet anyone, did not want to talk, friends, family, meeting, going out. Completely, I cut off myself. And I'm a pop singer. I do a lot of shows and meet a lot of people. I'm out on stage, and I completely went into a shell. And after 8 years is when I decided now there's something within me that said, you've got to go out and now talk about this. I can't stop it. So when did you feel that you need to go out and now talk about this to other people? Did you have that period where you said, everything is, I'm done. There's nothing more to do.
Uh, so there were phases of isolation where I quit my job and I didn't do anything for like a couple of years. And then I had to do something. So that's when I started teaching yoga. I did a certification and stuff. So I had to do something which was simpler, which did not involve a lot of mind stuff. So yeah, those kind of changes did happen. I was in big corporate jobs before that. But even then I was going through this, and it was full contradiction and a lot of like struggle, because I was in that environment while I was going through this. So then that finally I quit, and then there was this phase of not doing anything, and then slowly started again, just getting back into movement of just doing stuff. And that's when energy started moving, because for a long time energy did not move at all to do anything. And actually in the making of the videos and all that was also in a way to bring that energy out, because there is a tendency here to just like keep going in like and then just
Yeah.
like not be associated with anything outside. So like you can see, like for me to kind of get a website done and all that is a huge like task, which I don't get into like so easily. So everything takes its own time over here for it to come out in that way. So these videos was a way to sort of bring that energy out and start sharing and expressing.
Okay. Okay. And
I
you
didn't
said
decide it,
you
really.
didn't.
It just
Okay.
happened.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I had a certain urge. I was like, I just can't stop myself now. I've just got to go out and do it. And for me, it was more of a worry like, what will people say? Pop star now talking about spirituality, gone into Advaita. I authored 10 books on non-duality. And, it would be losing my image. But this time it was like, it doesn't matter. I have to go and talk about it.
Yeah.
So, uh, so when you've been doing it now for about a year on YouTube, you said, yeah,
Yeah, must be a
about
little more than a
yeah,
year.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. What how do you teach, or how do you you said there's nothing to teach obviously, but there are people who come to you, and I think Zoom calls where they're asking you questions and you're
Yeah.
answering them. What do you tell them, or what kind of questions pop up?
Uh, I don't really like, when you ask me specific questions like that, I can't really remember what questions they ask me. But things like how
No,
to
generally, like what would be the most
live
common
life with
question?
this and all that. And then the questions are about how this usually about how this can be applied in life. And usually the answer is, this is not about applying this in your
Yeah,
life.
yeah,
This is just, if there is a longing, there is a longing, and it's sometimes for no reason or not necessarily rational, it's just there. And so this is just a pointing that longing is nothing but that longing for liberation, and that liberation is just already here. It's you may miss it in feeling that there is something that is lacking, or that there is something that is not enough, or that you need something, or and that comes from feeling that there is a separate person here who needs this and that, but there isn't really anybody there who needs this and that. And there is just what is, and what is pointed to is that this is what you're longing for, that this whatever is everything.
yeah.
The longing and the longing is just there, and the seeking of it, of this, is what keeps it going, this feeling of separation. When that seeking falls away, there's just this, which is absolute simplicity, this appearance, which is nothing.
Okay, so
Yes,
from
yes, yes.
that, from what I gather, then you have people who are already on the non-dual path, who know what you're talking about basically already.
Yes,
So
yes, yes,
they have a
mostly.
background of non-duality, so it won't sound completely alien, or you know.
Actually, I don't know. Honestly, uh, over here there isn't that trying to gauge whether that person is coming with some knowledge or some kind of uh, uh, familiarity with this kind of talks. But I don't know if I sound completely alien to some of them. I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know, and
Oh
maybe I
yeah,
don't
yeah.
know, because
It
it's possible.
because this is completely paradoxical when we say everything is nothing or nothing is everything or
Yeah.
there is no person here. If I somebody told me this 15 years ago, I would say he's crazy, he's lost it. I mean, look, I'm standing
Yeah.
here. How can you say I'm not there or
Right.
nobody's there? Then what is going on? It
Yeah.
does sound radical. And my family thought I had gone crazy completely. There's like you've lost your mind, and there was a time, and on this path, usually you'll find very few people who get it, and so you don't have anyone to talk to. This is another reason why I started this podcast, so I can meet other people who get it, who understand it, and we can talk something and share some insights. And maybe the people who are on the path can get something out of whatever chat or conversation we have. Uh, I did visit your YouTube channel, and there's some videos that really intrigued me. There's one which is titled "The Me Does Not Get to the Infinite, but the Infinite Appears as the an Apparent Me." I think that's the title of the video. The Like you said, the person doesn't get enlightened. There is no one
Yeah.
there to get enlightened, but the infinite is appearing as an apparent me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh, there was somebody who was talking about, I think, who was asking you whether you still, whether you dance, whether you go to nightclubs. I think you are talking about
I
all
think
that.
the it was more dance as an expression that they were asking, not so
Yes.
much
Yes.
nightclubs. Yeah.
Yeah.
I said I went to
You.
nightclubs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, after that, and that I don't do an expression dance, but as a young, as in when I did go out and all that, that's what I did. Like any
Yes. Yes.
one in a
Of
city.
course. No, I think they were asking
After
after your,
spirituality,
yeah,
then.
why you still are you still doing the same things? Do you still feel like going out dancing, drinking, or partying, or has things changed completely? I think there was some old lady who was asking you that. And
Yes.
you are quite open in that. You said, yeah, I still do that. I do it when I feel like, and that is what freedom is. You get to do what you feel like.
No, I don't remember that question of do
Okay.
I do.
There was, I think the title of that video was describing the process that never happened from dance to no dancer.
Yeah, so that was basically the person, or I don't know if it was a question in the video, someone was commenting, I don't know what it was. Anyways, so they were asking after this whether I dance, because for that person they dance in
Yeah.
the spiritual dance, your ecstatic
Oh,
dance that is done.
okay.
And
Okay.
so I said, no, I don't do. I don't do it as a practice of ecstatic
Ah,
dance, but I have gone out dancing.
yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That, yeah,
That's great because when I started on the path also, the the kind of what can we call it? Uh, the promises. It's like once you're enlightened, once you're awakened, you're gonna have a grin on your face 24/7. You're gonna be in joy and bliss, and nothing is gonna touch you. You're never gonna go through pain and suffering ever again. And it's not exactly like that.
yeah,
So
yeah.
the people on the
There
path,
isn't anyone who goes through any pain or suffering, but there can be some kind of pain that happens if uh, there is something that either hurts your body, or if there is someone who you've been close to passes away, there can be some pain. So that those kind of things, but it's not that suffering that was there for the person that was in a lot with a lot of story and a lot of past and all those things. That kind of is not there.
yeah, yeah. But I think from the unawakened state, it looks like that you've made it. Once you're awakened, that's it. Life is gonna leave you alone, and you're gonna be in joy and blissful all your life, like a saint or a sage, which absolutely is not the case. Um, there was one more thing. There was what it means to not have an agenda. That was another one of the videos. Do you remember that one? What it
Oh.
means not to have an agenda. Okay. The last one that you did, the wow factor is not about a mystical experience. This is exactly like
Um,
what you're saying. It's not about a mystical experience. Um, I know experiences are not important on the non-dual path, and any experience, anything you experience is not the absolute truth. It's not infinite. And it's wrong for any seeker to be looking forward to these experiences. But then there always is a moment of realization that, oh, this is what it is. Or when you finally actually get it or realize it or understand it or awaken, call it what you want. But there has to be a moment that mystical would mean like an experience. You said the wow factor is not about a mystical experience. So a lot of people would be asking you, what was the experience like when you realized
So
it?
that's the thing. So first of all, it's not wrong if you want to have mystical experience. If you that's what you want, that's what you want. But what that basically uh, is that this is not somebody's experience, you know.
Right.
So it's not that there is someone who has an experience of non-duality, that someone is not there anymore and everything is it. So it is not that there's someone here, or you can say that whatever experience is this sitting over here and speaking to
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
is a mystical experience, you know, is
Oh,
the mystical experience. It's not about some big flashing light, but
yeah.
this is the mystical experience. If you want to just give you an understanding, but then that's not correct, because it's not that there is someone here who's having this a mystical experience, but this is completely a mystery. That's what is trying to be uh, communicated there.
Ah. Let me
But
act
if you
like a
want it as a context for the individual, that's what it is. This is it. This is the mystical experience.
yeah. Let me act like a seeker who's an ardent seeker who's got many questions of why. Uh, wh- Look, I get it all, but I'm asking these questions on behalf of people who would want to be watching it and maybe would get something out of it. Questions maybe I would have asked 10, 15 years ago. So if we say this already is, it already is, whatever is happening is it. Now, that does not solve my problem as a person because what is happening is the problem. The fact that it is happening is the problem. You get it? You
Yeah.
understand? I know it's just happening, but then when you're in a problem or you're in a fix somewhere, you probably say, "No, I can't just let it happen because it's affecting me," or "It's not good if it's just happening. I can't just lay down and take it." You know? What would you
So
say to
it is
that?
not, this pointing is not about, so when you say that it's not solving my problem, so it's trying to get something from this to solve the problem. But the thing is, this is not about solving the problem at all. You know,
Yeah.
this is completely uh,
Yes.
like in a different context, that this
Yes.
is not about your problem.
Yes.
Your problem, as far as this is concerned, is doesn't exist because there is no you.
All right.
But when there is a you, your problem seems real. So this is not giving a solution to you to solve this problem, because as far as this is concerned, there is no one, there isn't a you. Okay, but
Yeah.
this problem that is there, obviously you can't, you say okay, there is nothing here and there is just this, so I'm not going to deal with my problem,
Yeah.
because
That can be
that is
another way.
again, you know, just trying to escape through some idea you have of non-duality. But there is still a separation and you feel like you are here and you have a problem. But if you're going to use non-duality to say okay, there is nothing here, so I'm going to just ignore my problem, that does not that is just again the person trying to control and trying to feel that, by doing that, then everything might go away. But it's not like that. The person does not have any control and is just, it's whatever happens is happening. So now if there is a problem, the I mean, I can, as if I was speaking to someone who's coming to me with a problem, I might help them in, whatever I may feel that they can do for the problem. But that's not non-duality.
No, not the
That is
problem.
not at all
Not.
non-duality. That is just, trying to solve the problem.
Yeah. No, not. I don't mean a specific problem. I would mean like the ups and downs of life.
Yeah, whatever that is, anything
Uh,
for that matter.
yeah.
So any problem you cannot solve with
Yes.
non-duality.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's just what is. Uh, so you can't pretend or act like I am non-dual, so I don't have a problem either. If there is a problem, uh, it will just automatically, you may do what you need to do to address the problem, and that's just what is. And that's also the mystery appearing as the apparent situation, so to speak.
Okay. You've
So
used the
the
word.
person always prefers one thing to the other. But when there's no person, there is really no one there trying to control a situation and preferring one outcome to the other. It's just what is.
Uh, yeah. You have used the word mystery quite a few times. Um, let me ask you something on mystery. If this is the entire mystery that's going on, um,
It
where is
doesn't
it coming
really have a
from?
word, but then, it's just something that is used. Yeah.
In Advaita, these kind of questions come up, and so Advaita is very blunt and very straightforward. If anybody comes to Advaita with a question about their life and their problems, Advaita has a simple answer. Advaita is not interested in your life.
Yes.
And the person would be like, huh, what? Then what? Advaita is only interested in you, not your life. And
Advaita is
you,
not even interested in you,
in
actually.
no, you meaning that you have identified yourself wrongly. That's where the problem is. That you think you are does not exist. That identification. So basically, anything in your life, non-duality is not about that. It's got nothing to do with anything in your life. You are saying something. Go on.
No, I wasn't. I don't know. I don't remember what you were saying.
Advaita is not about you. That's what I was saying, and you said.
Yeah, that Advaita doesn't really even. You said Advaita only is interested in you. I said Advaita is not even interested in you because you don't really. You're not real. There is no you.
This is a distinction between Buddhism teaching and Advaita and the Upanishads. The Upanishads talk about Brahman and Brahman being the self, which you really are. It's like your true self, your true nature. While Buddhism does not believe in a self. So there's Atma and Anatma. So you can say both of them are illusions. One will say that there is no self, so there is what there is. The other one is saying that you have identified yourself wrongly. So when you realize that this is wrong, that is let gone. But this is the big distinction between Advaita and Buddhism. So that all the Upanishads talk about Brahman being your true self, with meaning your higher self or your true nature, who you truly are. You are not this person. While in Buddhism, they say there is no such thing. There just is. So there's no self in that. So, but in Advaita, yes, they do talk about the Atman being the self that you
Mm.
truly are. And the
Mm.
error being that you have identified yourself as this. When you realize this is false, that one you don't realize. That one shines forth on its own. You don't need to realize that.
Yeah.
Great, great.
I think it's all somehow the same thing, except
Yes.
when in misinterpretation, I think people interpret it in so many different ways.
Yeah.
So the interpretations of people come in, and it seems that it is all somewhat different. But I would think if it is anything to do with this, then it's very simple. It's just this. It's there is no self, and there is just this. there is an apparent feeling of being here, as a, in this body and other things, but it's just apparent. So the self of being this, with all the name and your character and all those things, as in your roles and other things, of course, that they can say is not you, and then you find yourself. But then when you look for yourself, it's not that there is something that you
No,
actually
no,
find.
of
It
course.
is, it's just everything.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Of course. That's what you realize
I
that
think, I don't know if there would be, it's all very different. It's just, I think, interpreted differently.
it's they all lead to the same thing. And anybody watching this, my advice would be simply whichever path you take, make sure you follow that teaching. Do not mix them up. Do not try to mix them up because you'll get confused. Take any one of the paths and follow it to the end. Like you said, you took up Ramana Maharshi, and you took up Muji, and to 3 4 non-duality, and you read so many books, and that was all that you were doing at that time. Yeah. So
Yeah.
they all lead to the same. It's just different ways. The reason for this podcast is that we get different teachers who teach non-duality, and each of them have their own different way of teaching it. Because non-duality is nothing, but then everything is what we are talking about, and that everything is so different from person to person. Everyone is talking about the same thing in different ways, teaching it in different ways. So we have a good platform here that gets views from different kinds of teachers around the world who teach non-duality. What I I think on you only have a YouTube channel. So on the YouTube channel, I saw you do one-on-one Zoom classes or meetings with people, and people who are listening to this or watching this, if they would want to get in touch with you, want to learn more from you, get in, ask you questions, do a one-on-one with you, do you how do you offer that? How can they get in touch with you? And if you have anything that's upcoming, like any event or anything that is related to non-duality in the future, that's we can look forward to.
So I have an email which I put up on my description box, usually in
Okay.
the YouTube videos, which is Advaita at
Yeah.
gmail.com, where usually people connect with me through that Gmail ID and schedule a one-on-one. I will do a website sometime in the near future, and
Okay.
hopefully
Okay.
it will be easier.
Any upcoming events,
So I
meetings?
don't schedule it, with in any pattern really, but I do my meetings on Sundays, which usually is probably every 2 or 3 Sundays. So depending on, my schedule, I do it. So nothing that I've scheduled right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
In the future, do you plan on writing a book about your life or on non-duality or your experience, or maybe setting up some courses or some videos for people who maybe I sometimes put up videos where maybe 10 people have asked me a similar question, of which if I had had done a video, I could have just sent it across instead of answering 10 people
Yeah.
separately. uh, Maybe you could do a series on that kind of stuff. Do you have anything planned for the future, in the sense that maybe you would want to teach this on a video platform sometime, or maybe put it into a book, any of that kind of stuff?
Uh, Maybe I will do a book at some point because I like writing, you
Yeah,
know.
you should.
So that might happen. Yeah. I
Great.
have written a couple of books, but again, that I've not really marketed so much. It is some time ago during this whole seeking and all that that I've written. And one is a little bit of a fiction kind of book, but it related to the whole spiritual, uh, journey, so to speak.
All right, all right. Is there anything that you would like to pass on to the viewers, the people listening to this, that maybe I have missed out, or you would want to say out, that would help somebody on the non-dual path?
Ah, no, I don't have any advice.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. I have the same thing. If somebody asks me, "What do you have to say?" I have nothing to say. But then if you ask me a question, I can answer.
Yeah,
uh, would you like me to throw some questions?
sure.
Because I, I am literally I had to understand this for myself. I went through, maybe I've been through about 500 or 600 books on non-duality through all different kinds of teachers, and so I get that it cannot be got. So when we say, um, let me ask you now, uh, what did you say? It is just this, and it cannot be learned or it cannot be taught. These are the kind of words that mostly we use in non-dual. It cannot be taught, right? So somebody who's not in that state, who's not awakened or doesn't know it, would have a question. Then what are we talking about? What are we even discussing if it can't be spoken about? That's one question that I'm talking as a seeker. So if it can't be spoken about, then what are we doing? What are we talking about? Second question would be, um, how do you know that it cannot be known? Clearly, you have understood that it can't be understood. So if it can't be understood, I don't want to understand it. But you know that it can't be known. You can tell me why it can't be known. Because if I understand that it cannot be understood, I have understood that which cannot be understood. Are you getting it? Are you getting it? The Upanishads and all the non-dual texts, how do they teach? They can't tell you what it is. They tell you what it is not. And the words that we use, infinite, Brahman, or existence, consciousness, all these are words that point to nothing. Brahman is not a thing, God is not a thing, consciousness is not a thing, infinite is not a thing. So they talk of these words. How do they describe them? In negative
Yeah,
words. So
because this is not a thing.
it is not a thing, exactly. So we can talk. How can it be spoken about? You can at least tell me then what it is not. It is not a thing. Then it will be, the question would be, what is a thing?
Yeah. So
All
just
the words, sorry, let me just finish this. All these teachings are like, the word infinite means limitless, unmeasurable, undescribable. You have to define them in negative terms. So the Upanishads and these non-dual texts, they teach in a way by teaching you what it is not rather than what it is, because they can't talk about what it is.
okay.
Sorry, did I freeze over there?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, now
All
you're
right.
back.
Yeah, go on. I'm just throwing questions now so that you can talk for a few more minutes. I love the smile, and I still think you're 25 years old. And so I just want you on for a bit more longer.
Okay. Uh, so so what the first question you said was, if this is it, then what are we talking about?
Yeah.
So the thing is, when we say that this cannot be spoken about, it's just that this that we are you know you're trying to communicate, so to speak, is not a thing, which is what you said next, right? It's not a thing. Everything else that you can speak of, you can speak of because it is something. It is either a concept, it is either a thing, tangible thing. This also can become a concept like the Advaita concept of that this is all there is. But then, if it is just a concept in your mind, then that's all it is. You can understand it actually in
Yes.
that context because the mind can understand it. Okay, there is just this and that's it. But in the understanding of it, you are just making it a concept which you hold on to, that but it's pointed to that that is also not it,
Yes.
because it is not about understanding this. If you're understanding this, you're just keeping it in your limited view of understanding. The boundlessness of this is that this is not understood because it is nothing. It is the mystery which cannot really be described, which no one can describe because it is not a thing. but it appears as absolutely everything. Okay, so now this, if the mind has to understand, it's not possible, because the mind has its own logical way of functioning. And this is not about the mind understanding, it's about maybe having a resonance with what may be spoken. So, this, not everyone listens to these
Yes.
Advaita talks. If there is a resonance, you listen to it. So
Yeah.
it's not necessary that you are understanding everything, and which is why you're listening. It's because there is a resonance with it, right? So
Yeah.
that is what I would say about your understanding question. And then what was the second one?
I have no idea. No, I just threw some questions. Uh, what is a thing? I think that's what I said. Yeah, when you say if it's not a thing, then what is a thing? We can describe what a thing is.
Yeah, so you said that about Brahman.
Oh yeah,
What
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Advaita says that you have to negate everything. So the
yeah.
negation can happen, and the thing is, what I've seen in the whole process, that negation of this is not for me, this is not, this is not, this is not. It gets you to a place where it's just sort of like empty, sure,
Yeah.
and it's a little bland, and there is no sort of like anything which feels, it just bland. So that's also a phase I've seen many people go through, including I went through, so to speak, that you're in this place where, okay, there's nothing, you're not interested in anything, everything is just the same, but really there is nothing that is meaningful, and that nothing is real, but you're in that place where, okay, nothing is real, but I am still here. So the thing is, that I that feels that nothing is real and
Yeah.
negates everything, that I itself is not real, is not even there. So when that I is not real and is not even there, then I don't know. There may be that revelation or seeing or whatever, that there has never been someone over here, who needed to find something and to get to something and to become something other than what is, because it is absolutely everything.
Yeah.
you know Again, it's not something the mind can understand, it's just resonance that may happen.
Yeah. No, the the steps in Advaita, Shravanam, Mananam, Nidhyasam. So you've got to understand that it cannot be understood. And that knowledge that you've gained has to be let gone as well. That's not the truth. That's just intellectual knowledge. If you stop there, you have understood it intellectually and you stop there, then you've just learned a new philosophy which is not going to really change anything in your life. You've got to go ahead and now apply that, assimilate that, and make that has to become a living reality for you. And that's when you have to let go of all the knowledge, whatever you have understood has to be let gone of. um what was I was talking about a thing, yeah. So um they reduce the universe so easily. You've learned Advaita, you said you did a little bit, so you must have heard of the kind of limitations there are. uh Desha, Kala, Vastu, the kind of energies that they are, Ichha, Jnana, Kriya. So if somebody was to ask me if it's not a thing, then you can tell me what a thing is. A thing is nothing but a name and a form and a use of
Hmm.
what, of some, of existence and consciousness. Satchidananda, you must have heard of these words.
Yes, of
Yeah,
course. Yeah.
yeah. So I was saying all these words actually point to nothing. There is no thing called Sat, existence. Everything is in existence. Existence is not a thing. All your thoughts and experiences are in consciousness. Consciousness is not another thought, you know? So there's nothing like consciousness. There's
So the
nothing
thing
like
is, I have
existence.
really not studied it like this
Okay.
at all. Like, I've never
Okay.
studied it. It is
Uh,
just from that first glimpse or awakening that there was a seeking, and there
mm,
was books read and all that, but not with the thing of needing technical knowledge of what this is.
okay.
The
Okay.
only thing I've done is do a yoga course, to become a yoga teacher. And then in that, of course, when I learned about, the Bhakti Yoga, Jnana Yoga, and it all made sense because of the experience or the process that was happening automatically over here. So over here, I've never really studied this, by the way.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
never.
Okay.
It
Okay.
is
Yeah.
only the living experience of how it unfolded.
That's brilliant, and you're not you don't have to understand it. You don't have to know it. It's not important. Even the learning is just to make you realize this is what you have been mistaking yourself to be all this time. Uh what else? Last few words. I just forgot what I was gonna ask you. Uh, I'll be putting your links in the description. So it's just your YouTube channel, or is there any other? You want me to
Channel
put your
and maybe my email ID
your
is
email ID for one-on-one sessions? Yeah, and anything else? Anything on WhatsApp, WhatsApp number, or just an email ID? And you do one-on-one sessions.
one-on-one sessions. Yeah, and
And
then
what about
the
the group calls that you do?
that I schedule whenever I can.
And
Those
where how do people get to know where that would be?
I put up like an announcement on YouTube.
On YouTube. Okay, on video. Oh, so if they miss the video. So basically, everyone listening to this, you've got to go and subscribe to her channel. I will put the link down so whenever you get a video where she announces, then at least maybe I'll join in someday and
Oh,
we can have. I would love to hear the kind of questions that people ask you
sure.
and how you answer them. Um, Sindhu, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much. I'm truly grateful um, for you to share what you've been through. Did you have any difficulty with people finding people on the same path, or did you have any difficulty with making other people, maybe family members, understanding what you're going
I
through?
don't
And
even try. I don't. I just don't even try. Yeah,
yeah. All right, all right. So
never have.
it's good
Really.
to, because of the internet, we can now at least listen to other people and
Yeah, I
confirm
have
that
met
we're
people.
not going crazy.
I have met people on the way. Of course, like in Tiruvannamalai and all the satsangs that I went to, and all
Uh,
that you are on this, and so sure, I have met people.
yeah.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you so much, Sindhu. I
Thank you
truly
so much.
appreciate. Yeah.